Happy Victory Monday, Jaguar fans. Javal, how are you feeling after yesterday's game?
Whew, my heart rate is, it definitely was spiking, first half, like, yeah, okay, feeling good. It's like, roller coaster. Third quarter, it just tanked. Fourth quarter saved us. So, now that we can reflect, feeling pretty good. And I think the crazy thing is, like we'll talk later, but the Jags shot themselves in the foot and they still put up 31 points. So life
I
is
think
good. You know
I
what I
think
mean?
that's the thing about this team is that Jaguar teams in year past, if you had like two turnovers in the game, are just like, oh shit. It's like, we just already you already know we're gonna lose by double digits. But no, we're the ones who are winning by double digits after making mistakes now. So it's definitely a weird feeling compared to years past.
Like, I think objectively, that was one of mind you, as somebody who's watched a lot of Jags games, that was one of the stupidest games of football. I watched it a long time, but we ended up winning. So I guess maybe like the stupidest court. I guess the game in general was such a interesting game. Rookie debut. Um, the coaching staff on both sides made some very questionable decisions, and then just the two Colts touchdowns were like those screamed like just Gus Bradley era. Like, what is going on? Like, how did this happen? But we still managed to win, so it's a different era. We have Trevor Lawrence, so
Exactly. I think like you said, there was a lot of like I was telling you before we decided to record was that I decided to I fell asleep right before rewatching that second half of the game. And I just remember talking to my family like, what is this play calling? What are we doing here? Why are we not simplifying the game? Like fourth and short, you're at like your own 45 or you're at their 40. Why not just pin them deep? No, you want to go big nuts and just go balls to the wall. We're gonna go for it. Third and three call, quarterback sneak. We're just gonna call another one, and then we get stuck. It's like, why are we doing this for? I know it's week one. It's the weirdest week in the NFL, but why are we
weird this
just
week.
trying? Yeah, we're just trying to do too much so early on. Both teams, not even just the Jags. The Colts were doing the same thing. They went 1 of 5 on fourth down. So
It was a stupid game. It was just funny because I remember like because it's week one, I was like, yeah, there's like a 25% chance like we could lose to the Colts in a embarrassing way. And we didn't lose, but it was very like if we did lose, it would have been the most week one game ever. But I think yeah, Shane Steichen and the Colts, and they're like both, just try to go for 'em 4th and 1. There was like two. Hold up, there was a stat. I should have pulled it up before, but I think it was like the Jags and the Colts were combined like 1 of 5 on 4th and down, and like four of those attempts were at like the 1 yard line, or something silly.
it was
Um,
hold on. I remember
I
I
know
can
it
look
was.
up team stats. I think we both went a combined 1 of 8 from fourth downs yesterday, which is very, very stupid. Yeah, we were a combined 2 of 8 on fourth downs yesterday. Colts went 1 of 5, we went 1 of 3 on fourth downs. On third downs, we were three of
Yeah,
12 and
it's
they
a.
were 2 of 12. So
It was a completely stupid game, but I like nothing about that game makes like just looking back at it yesterday, how the Colts had success. Like a couple of things like stand out to me. I was like, okay, like Richardson, I liked what I saw.
mhm.
Like the first touchdown that the Colts drive, like that was very impressive. I like that by them. Dude, that 2nd and 29 screen to Michael Pittman. Oh my gosh, bro. I just saw like Gus Bradley like in my head. Like that was Gus Bradley's fault. Even though we weren't the one, Gus Bradley wasn't the one
He was on
calling
the
the plays.
sideline. He was
But you
there. We
can't
have to blame him somehow.
you can't tell me that's not a Gus special somehow, bro. Like a 2nd and 29 screen to Michael Pittman of all players. I knew it was so funny. I just remember like the whole game talking
No, it's
about how
funny. I just
Pierce
remember
was.
just having engraved in my head like Tyson, which is ball watching, which is funny because that's what you really want corners to do. But then when you saw like two offensive line just running with Michael Pittman, I was like, oh, fucking hell. I was like, oh, we really allowed that on the 2nd and 28, 2nd and 29, whatever it was. It was just
Like
like,
after the 1st and 20, like
yeah.
okay, the Colts aren't, they're just gonna have to like dink and dunk a lot. We just have to rally and tackle, and then we didn't rally and tackle, and it was just funny. I remember like I'm like saying how I'm more scared of like Pierce beating us downfield than I am of Pittman because Pittman's like when he wins big, it's not like as big, and then of course just because I said that Pierce was completely radio silent, and
Yeah.
then
Pittman
Pittman
got the
had.
long screenplay for a touchdown. We were just
Dude,
off a screen too.
that does not make sense. Like he's our slowest receiver, dude. I'm sorry. You just it's okay though. We still won. So if we would have lost and just now I would have came on this pod about to like punch in my mirror. We let Michael Pittman. But we won though. So even though I'm still upset about it, it's just things to work on for next week.
I mean, yeah, props to the defense though. They only allowed 14 points with one of those being a stupid screenplay on defense. They stopped four fourth downs. They stopped 10 third downs. They only allowed 5.5 yards per passing attempt. Wow, they didn't throw the ball down the field whatsoever. I think that was just by design by the Colts to make sure that Anthony Richardson doesn't have to, make a stupid mistake. And it's funny because when they started chasing that game toward the end, he made that mistake finally that we thought was going to happen most of the game. I mean, there was just a phenomenal play from Tyson Campbell and baiting him too. Very good interception from Tyson.
I think best thing about that, and I just the Jags defense in general. I mean, obviously they played a rookie quarterback, so like yeah, you
Great
want the
assault,
defense
yeah.
to. But I think in terms of the game, like how the game was going, because the Jags defense came onto the field after the Colts defense had scored. And at that point, the other Colts are gonna like kind of try to run away, literally run away with the game. Jags defense held their own, and that they forced another turnover too. Cisco, I think it was Cisco and Foye who had like the forced fumble on the running back. So Caldwell turnovers just they
It
keep like I
happens.
so yeah, I mean this is the game talk about fluke turnovers. So I guess we just had to go equal, but that Tyson pick, he was talking about how he wanted to go to the flat first and then try to bait Richardson into throwing that corner route. And then, once he saw that, it was a great throw. I mean, the defense came to play, and if you would have told me that Josh Allen and Javon combined for 4 sacks, I would have been like, well, damn,
Hey, what do we
must have like run
say?
away with the game.
We told to hold off on judging Aiden Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker. Guess who had the sack yesterday? Yeah, it was on a worthless second half or first end of the first half type of play, but hey, it still counts on the stat sheet at the end of the day. It's okay. They would have matched anyways.
I'm just saying the people who are like, oh, Hutch had so much better stats last year. If Hutchinson had like people said he had better tape and Trevon had better stats, I think I would die laughing. But well, that is what it is.
And
Um,
guess who had a big impact on the run game the entire day? It was Trayvon Walker being in the backfield like almost half the time the Colts ran the ball.
Josh Allen too, man.
Exactly.
He was a man possessed that game.
Yeah, the edges were really big on stopping the run and making sure Anthony Richardson didn't go for a crazy run. He had like a 10-yard run, but other than that, I didn't
I mean,
see
yeah,
anything.
he had like what 10 carries for 40 yards. So it was definitely he was using himself as a weapon and he was very impressive in short yardage. I think that's probably going to be his biggest strength early on. But we were able to avoid, like a 40-yard, like he ran for 40 yards and 10 carries and not like 3 carries. So that was a
Yeah.
pretty good job by the defense, just running to tackle. I feel pretty bad for him at the end, like when he tried to like give his body on the line and then
And then
just for
Cisco immediately decides to murder him. It was just
I
so
think that was
ridiculous.
revenge for that flag that got called against Cisco, which I still think that was
Yeah, it's the
kind of
shoulder.
soft. But did you see what Cisco tweeted after the game though?
Yeah, exactly. With the Jefferson block compared to his, like, yeah, offensive players do that. Y'all get praise. So we do that. We get like chastises him in a lot
It's
most
cool when they
lives.
do it. It's a problem
Yeah,
when I do it. Shrug emoji. Oh, I love
exactly.
Cisco. He's such a swagger dude. I mean, he's from New York, so of course he's outgoing because most New York people are definitely outgoing. Cisco's like that on the field. He plays like that. So but I do feel bad that Richardson like tried to do all that. Like fourth, like 50 seconds left, he's like, I'm gonna put my body on the line,
I
and the
would take
Colts
a
didn't.
big shot, and yeah, he's on the floor like, oh well, yikes.
And the Colts didn't even get to score. That was, dude, Gardner Minshew throwing in the game at 10 seconds. That's like that was the funniest part. I think of this. I got
Yeah.
out of a weird, stupid game. That might have been like the most weird, stupid thing ever.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Just Gardner Minshew getting 4 tries at the end. It was like 3 tries, but
Two, I think. It was the second down where he tried to put his body on the line, and then Cisco just popped him. Welcome to the NFL, Rook. Yeah, this is what you have to deal with if you keep running like that.
Yeah, hopefully Richardson slides because yeah, as much as I dislike the Colts, he is a fun player. Or hopefully, he's just like I don't want to be in the Colts anymore and just goes to a team where they can actually I can root for him. But man, it's crazy. We've talked a lot about the defense. We haven't really talked that much about the offense, which again put up 31 points.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're still very turnover ridden, but both our turnovers were to one player that we praised all preseason, but first regular season game should have been a rookie bumps and Tank Bigsby. We'll just get the negative out the way. Yeah, I was actually debating this with other Jaguar fans a bit this morning about, would you have sat if you were Doug Peterson personally, would you have sat Tank Bigsby after those two mistakes he caused for basically almost it was a 7 points, well, 14-point swing. One of them didn't actually turn into points, but the second time was a direct touchdown for the Colts.
I mean, I it is what it is, with Doug. Obviously, he's the coach, and he was like, "I want Tank in the game." So, and he did bounce back. So, I think it's great. I think just that whole mentality of Doug, even just going back to how he coaches Trevor, is you don't have to apologize for making mistakes. It's a one play. You just have to keep going and forget, and just so I think it's really glad to see how it translates with Tank. Even though I do think the drop was a little bit on. It was kind of high, so
Mm-hmm.
it was not the easiest catch for Tank. It wasn't like he just straight up dropped it. So I want to give him a little bit of some flack. I think Trevor, I was there was some pressure. Throw was kind of high. A high throw bounces. It's a little bit all over the place. I mean the fumble, that was just like a weird thing. You got to play to the whistle. So
Used the
I don't want
cautions, I guess, with the ball being advanced forward, so they can't move it. But since I don't know, it was behind the line of scrimmage, I guess you could still advance it. I don't know. I was legit confused about the rules on that personally, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah, I mean, just funny. If you take away like a weird fumble, the Colts only scored 14 points, one of which came on
That
a
screenplay we just
stupid
talked about.
second. So, like, you move away two, I don't want to say like the super fluky. I mean, the fumble one was extremely fluky. That one's like you can't scheme that
Yeah.
up. Like you're not practicing that. The screen pass, okay, whatever. Michael Pittman on a screen, not what I would have called it for, but whatever, that works. Take away those plays. Jags defense played an amazing game, which again it is versus a rookie quarterback, but I think they played better than the final score it looked, especially because like one of the scores was by defense. So like the box side viewer is like, oh, the Jags allowed 21 points, but no, really the Colts defense scored points. So but yeah, going back to the offense, I mean, it's a good thing that, Tank it's a good thing that Tank was able to have a game like that where ultimately didn't say cost us the game, So even though he didn't play great, he didn't average great yards per carry, but the running game as a whole wasn't that great. Which we'll get to that a little bit later.
Hmm.
But he did have his first NFL touchdown, and that big run to set it up. So he has a little bounce back moment. So it's kind of good that he was able to, he made mistakes, but the coaching staff trusted him, and he was able to reward them. So shout out to Tank, even though it was a rookie day, but I remember like the Washington game, ETN like had a couple rookie mistakes. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think that's just indicative of the coaching staff to still trust the player. After making those two mistakes, say, hey, you got a goal line situation, go out and make a play. That run in the 5 yard line where it looked like he was gonna have a 1 yard loss, but he just kept tugging forward. I mean, shout out Bretton Strange too, another rookie, helping push along that line to the 1 yard line so Tank can just easily run it in the next play after.
Yeah, even like Strange, he kind of had a middle mistake on like another fourth down play. It was like a screen to Evan Ingram, and Tank
Mm-hmm.
kind of whiffed on a block. But you see, like I mean, yeah, Strange missed on a block, my bad, and that led
Mm-hmm.
to the fourth down not getting converted. But Strange was able to like kind of have some moments. So it was just good to see. Like definitely, else like between Anton, Strange, and Tank, they
They all had
looked like
a yeah.
rookies,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't so much to where they're. I mean, obviously, Strange didn't play like a ton. He just was blocking, but they had their moments. But you also can kind of see why the coaching staff likes them. So you're able to have some rookie mistakes, but ultimately in a game where you can look back at the tape and say, you had some lows and some highs. Here's how you can improve. So that's pretty good.
For sure. And let's stop talking about negatives. I know we're Jaguar fans. We're used to negatives. Let's talk about some positives. You brought up the offense. What was your favorite part about the offense yesterday? I already know who you're going to shout out since you're a Broward County boy. You can go ahead and talk about him. I'll leave that to you,
Oh,
Javal.
dude, they literally. Oh, a part of me was like, okay, if Ridley gets a touchdown this first game, I'll be happy. But I wasn't like, I was like, there's like a solid chance. I remember I heard the report saying they wanted to feature Ridley like on the first draw, like the first game. I was like, okay, hopefully get to see some catches. Dude, they gave this man a touch on the first drive of the game. Like Trevor, like the first touchdown that
First
Trevor threw
touchdown
this year.
drive. Yeah.
Can we talk about that play? Like Trevor just 3rd and 8. Trevor, nobody's open yet.
He
Casually
could have,
scrambles,
I remember looking, he could have taken the check down, was like, nah, screw that. I'm not taking the check down. I'll let you finish. Go for it.
just casually scrambles out and just like rolls a rifle to really on like the left, bro. Like, you know, good play. Like that's like a top like 12 quarterback play, to avoid the pressure, see it open, read it in time, have the strength to fit it in the window between the defenders.
And really
That
just
was
right
amazing.
there. And he was just here and he knew the ball was gonna be. He had his hands like right on his chest. He just caught it like so casually. And then he turned around and just spiked that fucking football to the
That
wall. I
was
was like,
sick, dude. And then with the flex at the end, oh, dude. This man, the crazy thing is, I really think looking back at the tape, really could have had like a 150 yards like receiving. And there was like another play that got taken back due to penalty where he just there's like I remember it was like Vilma was like, oh, I can't wait to see what Kenny Moore does versus Calvin Ridley. Like he's a
yeah.
do it all guy. And then Calvin just
He madly does
immediately
the same thing he
dusted
did in
him.
the first quarter where he just runs straight for 20 yards, come back.
He just
Yeah.
dusted him, but it got called back due to penalty. I
Yeah.
was like, you gotta be kidding me. But I mean, no, I mean, it was funny because this was like the first game we saw of obviously Ridley. Zay had, I think, as great as
Yeah, the
Trevor's
Ridley
first
touchdown,
touchdown
the
was,
second
Zay's
one, yeah.
touchdown was in like, dude, I was like, there's no way that was in bounds. Just it reminded me so much of like the Marvin one where I didn't think it was going to be in bounds, but the fact that he had to like run under, like catch it with
The anticipation from Trevor too. There was like not even a yard of separation between Zay and the corner or safety that was on him. And then just to put it on that place where only Zay could get it, it's just like, what the hell do we have here? Like, what do
that,
we
and
have?
it was very similar to the really touchdown last year. I mean, the preseason, not the touchdown in
Yeah,
the preseason, but
yeah.
the catch in the preseason where you know, Trevor had the check down open, but he's like takes a calculated risk to just launch it where only his receiver can get it. And he's so stupidly good at that, dude. Like it's insane. I mean, even going back to like his rookie year, I feel like Trevor's always had great touch, like kind of like giving receivers a chance, like down the sidelines. I remember like the Broncos game his rookie year, the touchdown to Marvin Jones was really great timing, like great placement, like a nice fade route. Last year, the Baltimore game, Marvin Jones obviously again, the way like his shin was caught catching it. Like Trevor's just so good at not only knowing like when to take the risk of like, okay, I can take a check down or I can take a shot. But he's so good at not only knowing when to throw it, but also having the placement to balance everything. So it's just beautiful.
It really is, man. It is such a blessing. Like you can see, I don't know, just like quarterback play around the league. Because I remember falling asleep toward that Giants Cowboys game. We could be stuck with like a Daniel Jones, but then like you can watch the Trevor Lawrence just launch footballs and trusting his receivers to go grab it. Because I'm gonna put this, yeah, like you said, put it in a place where he can grab it, and we have receivers that can grab it, whether that is a Ridley, a Kirk, or a Kirk. I know he didn't get targeted a lot yesterday, but Zay Jones. It just
Dude,
shows that any offensive player can show out any day. Evan Ingram also had a jump ball catch too during the game. It was just like, oh my God,
that
man.
Ingram catch was sick too. Yeah, we didn't talk about Ingram, but he had a pretty solid game. Beautiful catch, like the way he high pointed the ball. That was
It really was. It really was. But like, man. I did want to talk about what did you think about ETN's first game though? I think just very impactful. Every time he took the ball, he just looked fast and he looks like in control whenever he wanted to.
very decisive. And I will say, I mean, the O line as a whole didn't have their best running game. But even though ETN, didn't have like a super explosive game, like he only averaged 4.3 yards per carry. I mean, I think the O line itself was not doing him much favors in the play calling, just trying to run up the middle a little bit too much, which, bit of a minor, but when he got to the edge, he was great. He was able to pop some in the middle, and that touchdown he had,
Yeah.
it would look like it was going to be like a 1 or 2 yard loss at first, bro. And then he just cut it back, took it outside, broke a couple tackles, and like, okay, ice the game right there. I was like, he just looks like that one run alone showed me
Hmm.
so much more from ETN, I think, in terms of him being able to have a better balance and just his vision being better. Because I think last year, ETN does not score a touchdown on that play. Like
Hmm.
he doesn't score a touchdown, so he looks really impressive.
Yeah, which is crazy because we talked about it even, when we were talking with Mia, how she said even how his vision has improved when running the football, and that running touchdown to ice the game was really, really the icing on the cake, which could have been a
That was
disastrous, yeah,
beautiful.
but could have been a disastrous game. But hey, the win's a win, 10-point win. And I do want to shout out the special teams a bit
Shout
because
out
of
Agnew. I
Logan
mean
Cook. I
Logan
mean,
Cook.
Agnew had a pretty terrible game before that punt return toward the end. Like just the design. It's like whenever when I was talking about overcomplicating the offense. Do we really need to run end arounds or just having Agnew like try to get it done? I mean, yeah, I think if he avoided Zaire Franklin, he could have had a big gain on that one, but still, you don't have to really do these like
Poor
weird
Agnew,
gadget
man.
plays. Yeah.
He
He had a
he made
poor
up for
game.
it though.
Yeah, that
He was
just
like, you know what?
bounce. Yeah.
If I'm not gonna get my touches on offense, then fuck it. I'll just try to take it to the house. And I think Agnew, there's a decent chance the offense without that spark,
Yeah.
might not have scored as easily, so
From Tank,
or
yeah.
not scored as all. So
Oh yeah, for sure. He took a play from inside our own five to like Colts territory on just one touch. Shout out Agnew. Shout out Agnew. He legit struggled the entire day until that play. So yeah, we'll give
that's
him.
that's the whole Jags model, like similar to Tank, it's like
Hmm.
it's a one play thing, you can make I don't even want to say he struggled himself, more so
Hmm.
like the plays he was involved with didn't
They
go
didn't really
great.
give him any favors. Yeah.
Because we know what he can do in space, obviously, but Agnew was great, and then Logan Cook when the offense wasn't great, you know,
Pin
special
him deep.
teams unit.
Logan
McManus,
Cook.
McManus didn't have like a super high difficult field goal, but made us extra points. He made a solid day where you didn't have to worry about having a kicker, and I think it's just a good point from special teams as a whole.
For sure. I mean, yeah, Logan Cook also shout out best punter in the league, man. He kept pinning them deep whenever we needed him to. Can't really say anything better than that. Three faces of the game, all that matters. Offense, defense, special teams, what Doug Peterson says all the time. All
It's
three of
just
them had their moments.
I think the crazy thing about like just looking back at the game, what stands out to me the most is this really reaffirms to me that as long as the Jags just don't get in their own way, they're gonna put up like they literally had multiple things go wrong this game in terms of the play calling itself wasn't great and the turnovers, and they still put up 31 points. If they have a game with no, like I'm just imagining what it's gonna be like if they have a clean game, like no turnovers, the play call, like just let Trevor cook, because that's my only gripe. Obviously, we still scored. It's not like the offense was terrible, but I think definitely they tried to run a little bit too much versus the Colts inside running game. We didn't have a lot of success. Like that's why ETL wasn't super efficient. Tank wasn't efficient.
Hmm.
So if you just let Trevor, because really, I mean, the interception, like I said, wasn't really on him. Take away the interception, this man was like, what, 24 of 32, 240 yards. Very efficient game. Like, he always has efficient games versus the Colts. Like, he's going to complete most of his passes as long as it's versus the Colts. So I think they definitely could have tried to run a little bit less. But, I'm just wondering what it's going to be like when we throw the ball a lot and just all the receivers have big games, because Kirk only had one catch for 9 yards and we still scored 31 points. And he was a receiver one from last year, which is stupid, dude.
It really is. And then it just also just, puts out how important Ridley is going to be for this offense for the entire year. And I would like to admit I'm the one who kept overdrafting Ridley in all my fantasy leagues. I just wish I drafted better around him after week one, but hey, it's whatever. You do what you do, and let's see if this team can go places because they got the biggest test of the season next week and here at home.
Oh man, I cannot wait though.
But we'll say that for another time. We're going to bring up another guest and we're just going to talk about it throughout the week. And then we can just kind of reaffirm all these thoughts that we had today. Is there anything else you want to lead off with before we end the show today?
Um,
Who do you want to shout out as your player of the game, though? We'll just give like a player of the game or something. Who was the player of the game
okay.
yesterday?
Well, shout out, first week of the season, Ridley touchdown, Tyson with the pick. They're on pace for 17 touchdowns, 70 picks. So, yeah, shout out to Broward Excellence right there. My guys. But
That's right. You have to shout out your Broward guys. But I'll say Josh Allen. He got 3 sacks. I know it was like very like, do you really count those sacks when the quarterback tries to run out of the pocket to make a play? But they were behind the line of scrimmage. They still count as sacks. Josh Allen, you're playing for a contract year. That's a good way to try to debate earning some money from us next offseason. So shout out you.
I mean, that was huge from him. So we'll see. And, also Trevon with the sack. Um, just want to say before we close off, so far on the sack guru jersey, he didn't have the baby bump game yet. So
Still have
we're still
5.
we're still safe for now. We're 5 sacks to go. So congrats on the sex though.
Exactly. Congrats on the sex. We love sex around here. All right, I'll leave you to the rest of your day. We'll bring on a guest hopefully tomorrow or sometime later on this week to talk about the Chiefs game a bit more. But to those who are still watching, thank you, love you, like, subscribe, comment. We need all of that interaction to help us grow or whatever we want this to be. We're just here to just kind of vent out our thoughts at the end of the day
Shout out to
because
the Jagged faithful.
exactly. All right. Have a good rest of your day, Javal, and we'll talk to you hopefully tomorrow.
Peace.
Peace.